Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 3 stories for you from the Malicious Compliance subreddit. The Karma Stories podcast is published to all major podcasting platforms, and you can also read along on YouTube under our @Karma Stories podcast handle. If you have a story you'd like to submit to the podcast, you can do so by email at karmastoriespod@gmail.com. Alright, on to today's Malicious Compliance stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from CLH Harrison, who says we need that anti-slip surface on the outdoor pavement. Everyone below you, that's who. Story takes place in the latter half of 2022 in the UK. Names and company changed and not mentioned due to NDA and overzealousness on behalf of the company. Part 1, the issue begins. I worked at a major tourist attraction during this time, and we got thousands of customers every day. Part of our attraction was outside, and we had expanded part of the outside to accommodate new parts for the attraction. In order to blend with the theme of the new section, a brand new brick pavement was installed in the area. Upper management had, at the time, a tendency to not think things 100% through, and this was no different. The big thing was that it was decided not to install an anti-slip surface on the brick pavement. Now, we were in the middle of summer, and it was a particularly dry summer, but nonetheless, when it isn't dry, we got a lot of rain and a lot of snow and frost. We need that anti-slip surface. We told upper management this, and as per usual, fell on deaf ears. Winter comes far too soon, and with it all the rain that was meant for summer and to make up for dry autumn. And the winter of 2022 was bad for the UK. Temperatures fell to single digits, and then negative in the Celsius. With the cold came a permanent frost over the brick pavement, and the beginning of malicious compliance. Part 2, the compliance. The first slips and falls heralded us to the idea. At the time, the company was required to write in paper accident and incident reports about everything if something bad happened. Now, anyone who's worked in tourist attractions, we've all seen kids fall from being too excited, and we often do a polite check to see if missing limbs are present, and if all is good, we just ignore it. No one likes paperwork. Not to mention, due to upper management's distaste for us, we had to take the long way to the offices where the paper was to be filled in, and get someone to cover us while we filled it in. Upper management hated us being in their special offices and not out with the paying customers. It is worth mentioning in their defense, our lower managers and middle managers were on our side, because even they knew what upper management was doing was utter nonsense. So they saw what we were doing and agreed with it. What happened was, every single slip that occurred outside on the impromptu ice rink that was the brick pavement, we would report. That's about 15 to 20 minutes of us in the warmth, not freezing our butts off, writing about how someone had slipped in the exact same manner as the last 10 people, all in plain view of upper management. I'd like to believe they began working from home more due to us being there in their office. I learned from one of our lower managers that is a dear friend that the stack of reports handed to upper management was measurable in inches. I do not regret saying I was one of the top 3 contributors to that pile. Part 3, the bare minimum response. Upper management finally began to make efforts to fix the situation. They decided to just cordon off the vast majority of the brick pavement with temporary ugly barriers, and put down anti-slip mats to make a path for the parts of the attraction that they wanted visitors to walk in. They thought they had won. We knew better. Anyone who has worked with tourists knows that tourists are a special breed of stupid. Told not to touch the very important items, they will touch. Told to keep their kids near and not let them wander off. I think the record for no lost kids was 4 hours. And so these barriers that everyone is required to respect, well, clearly, it doesn't apply to me. Each time we told people not to go underneath these barriers, they look like deer caught in the headlights. and the barriers were just low enough that kids would duck under and run straight onto the ice and onto their butts. Even more accident and incident reports rocked up as a result, and all upper management would do is tell us low, barely above minimum wage earners to do a better job policing this part of the attraction. Part 4, Wake Up Call. School kids. Oh, how we loathed schools. Mostly teenager ones. Little kids, no more than 5 to 10. Oh, they were delightful. We were happy with them. The main reason was because the teachers, who are still responsible for the kids no matter what, actually followed our guidelines. So naturally we liked the little ones and were genuinely more concerned for them than normal. We all then had our moment of fear when it was reported that a 7-year-old boy had slipped and fallen on the ice, no doubt having been playing with classmates and unintentionally not seeing where he was going. That didn't save his 2 front teeth chipping, and a call for our on-site first aid team to come and help. Luckily, he seemed alright besides the fact that the tooth fairy was going to be paying double that night. But for us, lower and middle management, it was the final straw. I wish I had taken a photo of that accident and incident report for posterity, the number of people co-signing it. Part 5, The Fallout. Nobody wants a lawsuit, and the kids' parents had grounds to do so like nobody's business. The fact a child had been injured from negligence did not look good on upper management's part, and it wasn't as if they could pretend nothing had happened. Everyone had been telling them about the risk, and when it got to the bigwigs, I can only imagine what was said. Miraculously, and within 2 days of the kids' teeth, they put an anti-slip surface on the brick pavement, at what was probably more of a cost than had they just done so in the summer. The barriers were removed, and the number of paper accident and incident reports dramatically decreased. They finally also got around to installing tablet devices with which we could fill in reports without needing to drop position. Our lives were made easier, they got an earful, and that kid probably has a fun story for when he's older and has kids himself. I'd like to say upper management learned their lesson and took our words on board for future endeavors, but that is like expecting the dog to not poop on the carpet after the first time you shove their noses into it. I no longer work there for other reasons, and many of the people who joined in the act of malicious compliance have since gone elsewhere. But for nearly 3 glorious months, you had never seen a department work together like ours in that way before or since. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called J Nelson Ninjax. It says, I was about to say you would think, but then quickly realized that you were dealing with upper level management who are incapable of thinking for themselves and certainly walk around with blinders on. I'm only surprised that it only took one child being seriously injured for them to decide to do what they should have done before. It probably took the combined brain power of the upper manglement to come to that conclusion. OP responded to this one and said, could count the number of times I saw any one of them amongst us lot with one hand. 3 months before I left, one of them realized I wasn't even from the UK. I'd been working there for 2 years. I missed the people at the attraction. I don't miss the management, even if we did work together beautifully at that time. I feel like in this case, they could have gotten action a little bit faster if they'd changed the way that they were reporting the incidents. Like if these incidents were being reported directly to the legal department, something might have happened a little more quickly, considering that they would be paying out people who fell and then sued them. Another option would have been to report directly to the health and safety executive who oversees workplace safety. That would have definitely ruffled some feathers with the upper management and had them act quickly. That last one even allows for anonymous reporting, so that might be the best way to go. This story comes to us from Anti-Hate Account. Want to force me to give out resumes when I already have a job? Fine then. I, 22 male, am the primary caretaker of one of my family members. Among other chronic illnesses, she is a diagnosed narcissist with early dementia. As per my family's request, I moved with her and took an online job as a trilingual translator to ensure I would be there 24/7 should she have an emergency. Somehow, she has interpreted my constant presence as me not having a job, despite me explaining several times that I did, in fact, work. She went to the point of stealing my ID and debit card, saying she would not be giving them back to me unless I gave out resumes where she told me to. I have searched the whole house and couldn't find them, so I was forced to comply. I have a huge amount of respect for people who work in these fields, but I am not taking a job as a cleaner or a cashier when I work in my field of choice. That's when I noticed all the places she was forcing me to send out resumes to were requesting a cover letter. This is where the malicious compliance takes place. I took an already written cover letter and changed some details so it would be like I wrote it myself. I made her read it and approve it as per her request, then added the following sentences in my second paragraph. If this letter arrives on your desk, please know that this application has been sent without my consent. Already having an online full-time job, please do not take it into consideration. As you can imagine, I didn't get called back much. Only one place sent me an email, and once I explained the situation, their HR team wished me luck with my situation and told me this motivated them to read cover letters more carefully. At the same time, I contacted my boss. I knew they sometimes open in-office positions, and my boss is one of the nicest people I know. So I contacted her and asked if there was any way I could get the next in-office position, telling her why exactly I was asking that. I've been working there for 6 months and she never had any complaints about me. So she sent me a permanent contract starting in January 2025 for their office. It's overseas in a country where I'm legally allowed to work without a work visa. I won't specify which country since I have the intention of disappearing there. My flight is already booked and only my best friend knows what's going on. I have a letter already written out where I tell my family to not warn the authorities. As soon as I land, my bank account will be closed and my phone subscription cancelled. And after 5 years, I will ask to become a citizen in that country and won't renew the paperwork necessary to prove my citizenship in my birth country. I have 3 younger siblings, all of them are still in middle school. They have their own email addresses that our parents don't know about, so I will send them an email telling them this is not their fault and that they're the ones in the family who are allowed to contact me. I'll also add that I will answer to any questions they have once they turn 18. I'm excited. I'm excited to start a new life. I'm excited to get out of this family who has been the source of most of my problems my whole life. I'm excited to finally escape toxic people in a toxic environment that was destroying my mental health. Only 2 months left, and after 22 long years of waiting, I'll finally be free. All of this because my last straw was forcing me to send out job applications. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Dogwood Cat. It says, also tell your local police that any missing person reports for you should be treated as misuse of emergency services, wasting police time. Tell them that your family knows you're leaving the country and they might try something foolish in desperation to keep you in the country. Don't add this detail to the letters you send your family. Let them find out the fun way. You also have to ensure that the family member in question is cared for until the rest of the family has a chance to figure that out. OP responded to this one and said, I'll do that once I'm gone because I have no faith in my country's police. If they learn that I'm a caregiver, they could be capable of informing my family of it despite my legal right as an adult to disappear. When I do tell them, I'll also lie on where I am. I'll start the paperwork necessary for her to get governmental help to get a nurse. I don't think I can do much more without betraying myself. Another commenter down below called Waglo Maum said, fair's fair. Good luck to you with everything. By the way, out of curiosity, I know it's not your problem anymore, but who's going to be taking over that family member of yours after you're gone? OP responded and said, I'll try my best to not sound heartless while answering, even though at this point, I don't really care anymore since it's not the first time there's been an issue between this specific family member and me. Only difference is that I was a college student and didn't have many options back then. I doubt anyone in the family will be willing to help to the extent I did, and my siblings are too young to be forced to take over. With such diagnoses, they can probably get financial help from the government to hire a nurse and get her one of those medical alert necklaces or similar systems. The family cares too much about reputation and stuff to consider a nursing home, although on the mid-long term, this seems inevitable to me. The comments on this story are overwhelmingly positive for OP doing something to get out of that situation and do what they want for their life. I did a little bit of looking through OP's comment history, and a lot of their replies tell a little bit more about the situation and the fact that they really are stuck there doing something that they really don't want to do for people who are completely ungrateful for what they actually are doing. I hope OP finds what they want in life when they get out of this situation, but I do also hope that one of their siblings isn't roped into taking care of this family member now that OP won't be there to do it. This story comes to us from PureHeart7915. Sick leave needs a note. Just read a post about sick leave policy backfiring and wanted to post my own story about it. Old work friend, we'll call him Jesse, is a retired US Marine. Guamanian, chill as hell, and un-F-withable. He was the coolest guy you'd ever meet, personable and worked hard. Can't say enough good things about him. Our supervisor was brand new and one of these perpetual yes men. Anything the middle and upper management mentioned, even in passing, was holy gospel for this guy. I tell you, his lips were brown. He did everything in his power to kiss the starfish. Regardless of the impact on everyone's personal life or work environment, it didn't even register with this guy. 0 F's given for his people, just whoever was above him. Jesse, being older, was looking at retirement. Between the Corps and his civvy job, he was doing a 9 to 5. He was beginning to have health issues and had frequent doctor's appointments. Right around the holidays, everyone wants to take leave, and we have a 50% staffing policy pretty much across the board at work. No more than half of our shop can be off at the same time. So it gets pretty cutthroat around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Everyone wants to flounce out for the holidays. New boss wants to be the personal savior of everything company, tells everyone that we're going to do a 75% staff instead, and proceeds to shut down all of our leave slips. Cue everyone getting sick. Boss gets mad and demands doctor's notes for all sick days, appointments, anything outside of work. Well, we all have pretty good insurance, so a $25 copay is now a day off bounty, and there is pretty much a mutiny in the shop over the butt hat's continuous stream of stupid policy. This hits Jesse especially hard. He's got a host of crap breaking down in his old body. After about the 6th or 7th time, the new boss is verbally dressed down Jesse for taking excessive sick time. He snaps. You want notes? You got 'em. He went through the union contract and discovered that documentation doesn't have to be from an actual doctor. Need a day because you felt sick? All you need per the union contract is a receipt for a bottle of Tylenol. Dentist appointment? The reminder note for your next appointment. The crown jewel of the Shenanigans was his colonoscopy. Jesse got the proctologist to screenshot a picture of the inside of his colon and used it as his note. He retired a champion. Place isn't the same without him. Does anybody else feel like the boss got a real backdoor education from Jesse's note policy? I mean, the colonoscopy pick was a bold move, truly taking things to the bottom line. Jesse's humor was definitely deeply rooted. I honestly do hope the boss got really butthurt about it, and I really feel like Jesse did a great job covering his own rear. If you enjoy daily Reddit stories, I encourage you to follow and add us to your favorites on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most. And if you're watching and listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.